Hey Nine, so question number 4 from our lesson today. Sand is being poured from one container to another as shown below. So it starts out in this lovely gray container right here, and then it pours into this white container right here. So the sand flows from the shaded part of the gray to the unshaded or the white. The shaded part starts full of sand, and the sand empties into the unshaded cone or the white part down here and fills it all the way to the top. It doesn't overflow it fills it perfectly. So what is the height of the unshaded cone to the nearest tenth of a centimeter? So in order to be able to figure out the height, we need to know the volume of this cone, right? Because we know that volume is equal to 1/3 pi r squared h. So if we know the volume of this cone, then we can solve for h. Well, luckily for us, we have enough information here to find the volume of this figure. And this shaded thing is made up of a cylinder and a cone. So in order to find the volume of the shaded figure, you would need to find the volume of the cylinder first and then the volume of the cone. So let's go ahead and do that. So we know that the volume of a cylinder, and again, we're going to find a lot of volumes here, so we need to identify which one it is. So the volume of the cylinder is equal to pi r squared h. In this case, we know that the cylinder is right here and that the diameter is 5 centimeters. And so then we know that the radius would have to be 5 divided by 2 or 2.5. So it's going to be pi times 2.5 squared for the radius. And then our height is 4. So times 4. And so we plug all that into our calculator. I'm going to get 2.5 squared times 4 times pi is going to equal approximately 78.54 centimeters squared. All right, so now let's try to figure out the volume of this cone. So the volume of the cone, and we'll call it the gray cone because we have 2 cones, is equal to, and we know that the volume of a cone is pi r squared h over 3. So the cone has the same diameter as the cylinder, so it has the same radius as the cylinder. So it's going to be pi times 2.5 squared times the height. And in this case, the height of the cone is over here, and it's 2 centimeters. And all of that is going to be divided by 3. So I can go ahead and plug that into my calculator. So I have pi times 2.5 squared times 2 divided by 3. And I have 13.09. So 13.09 centimeters squared. So then I know that the volume of the shaded figure, or just even volume shaded is fine, is going to be the addition of the cylinder and the gray cone. So in this case, it's going to be the addition of 78.54 plus 13.09. Make sure that you show this when you're doing your solution so that I know where your numbers have come from. So again, we're going to do 78.54 plus 13.09, and we get 91.63. So 91.63 centimeters squared. All right, so now we want to take a look at the volume of the unshaded cone. So we know that the volume of the unshaded cone is going to equal the volume, is going to equal the volume for a cone, which is pi r squared h over 3. So when we look here, we know that the diameter is 6 centimeters. So we know the radius is half that, or 3. Now, in order to be able to solve for h, we need to know what the volume of the unshaded cone is. Well, we know that the volume of the unshaded cone is equal to the volume of the shaded figure. And the volume of the shaded figure is 91.63. So I know then that 91.63 has to equal pi times 3 squared times height divided by 3. Well, I'm going to go ahead and simplify this side. So I know 3 squared is 9, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So I end up with 3 pi h. And then I want to take this 3 pi and I'm going to move it to the other side. So I get 91.63 divided by 3 pi is equal to h. You don't have to show this. I'm just showing you that I'm taking the whole thing and what's going on because it's going to the other side. It's becoming a division. But you don't have to do this line thing with the arrow, okay? So now I've got 91.63 divided by, now remember, when you put it into your calculator, this is an expression. There's two things going on here. So it's 3 times pi. So I need to put it in brackets. So 3 pi. And so I get 9.7 centimeters is equal to my height. All right, nines, hope that helped.